Name of the talk is right up there in the middle, Elite Video Marketing. That's what we try to do for our clients. That's really what I'm hoping to do here today. But a quick temperature check of the room, got most people's roles, got most people's industries. If you own marketing in your firm, can you just throw a hand up so I check that again? And if you own sales, and if you own net income, all the business owners, of course. Cool, so we've got some stuff on that. And whenever Hannah and I have something like this on the schedule, which isn't as often as we'd like, but we do semi-regularly, it fires us up because this is the exact type of room that we get a ton of energy from. The people that aren't content to kind of stagnate, aren't content with the status quo of where they are. They're constantly looking to grow and build and learn and take one more tactic that they can use to build what sounds like a diverse set of businesses. So that is my mission today. My mission is to share the best practices that Hannah and I have learned from 5 years of obsessing over video. In every format, on every platform, that's what we do day in, day out. I'm gonna try to give you as much as I possibly can here today. This is going to be useful for a couple different cohorts. If you have been sitting on the fence, not jumping into video, not starting because you don't quite know exactly how or where or why or aren't necessarily sold on it, we'll make some points that'll kind of help you take a step in that direction. If you've been trying it and it hasn't really been working, if you've kind of been like, we're 1 foot in, we're at first base, but I want to get all the way around the bases, I want to hit a grand slam, we'll start moving in that direction. And then because I'm obsessed with video, I think about it in applications beyond just sales, marketing, but also in your recruiting, also in your operations, and we'll talk about some applications there. A couple ground rules. If I use any sort of jargon or confusing language, throw a hand up, please stop me. I don't want anyone to get lost, confused. I won't be offended, it won't throw me off, and there's probably someone else in the room. I try as best as I possibly can to make it simple, straightforward, not do the thing marketers do of throw jargon and crazy metrics at you that don't really mean anything. But if you have specific questions at the end to your personal situation, save that for the end. I will try to make time to either talk to you one-on-one or address them if we have time with the group. If that works for you guys, I'll introduce myself. So we have had more than 100 clients, generated tens of millions of views, grown 50% over the last 3 years, and have a ton of happy client reviews who continue to work with us. But you don't really care about that. You don't care so much about my business. You care about what we do for the businesses we help. And this is a case study that seems convenient to the financial planners, but I promise I didn't plan it. Equilibrium Wealth Advisors case study. While working with them, they doubled revenue, had 100% client retention over the 2 years that we were producing videos, and also increased their total inbound leads. So that is one of the case studies that we like to highlight. And the personal side of this is, like I said, we've been obsessing over this for 5 years. 5 years ago, we did not have this stuff figured out. We were in a Panera, as many new business owners are, just trying to rub 2 sticks together, get a little kindling going. And now we've been recognized by the Pittsburgh Technology Council. We've had the growth that I articulated. And so hopefully we figured out a thing or two that will be useful to you guys. And that's why I'm here, not to talk about me, to talk about things that could be helpful for you. So if you guys are ready, give me a hell yeah. Boom. All right, so this is the order we're gonna go today. Frameworks, short form vertical video, YouTube, and then connect it down to sales and revenue. The first part, for the people that are on the fence, video, not sure. 82% of internet traffic is video. 82%. The first time I came across that number, it floored me, and I'm in the space, right? That's stunning to really consider. And one of the reasons I've heard someone articulate is, we have a great, I'm not going to comment on the education system, but we put people through the education system. There's resources to teach people to read. It's not self-evident that everyone, from the jump, is going to want to read 2,000 words on a given topic. But we are biologically predisposed to look at someone, hear someone, figure out from their body language, their tonality, and the words that they're saying, what it is that they're trying to communicate. And that's why we're such big believers in video, because it actually enables you to do that form of communication. And that's why it's such a big part of overall internet traffic. We are also really big believers on content marketing being a gateway to qualitative insights. So that's my first dip into the pool of marketing jargon that makes people start to tune out. Basically what that means, if we're putting out content with regularity on social media channels, on our blog, on YouTube, we're getting insights about what is actually resonant with our buyers, the same way that a salesperson that has a ton of sales calls is gonna get that really fine feel for what actually activates the buyer, what they're actually looking for. We think of our content marketing as just a proxy for that. When we write a piece of copy that just goes gangbusters on LinkedIn, that's a clue that that's a resonant message that we can then incorporate into our sales process. So if you have that connection between sales and marketing and your content marketing regularly, this is gonna help with that. It also helps when you have a ton of content out there with inbound leads, people that show up with more context on what your business does, as opposed to like, I'm not sure, I'm just gonna kick a few tires here. And the refining copywriting thing is just huge. We found that to be enormous. Another framework that's helpful for the people that are kind of on the sidelines, not ready to jump into making more video, is don't start with your most important video first. We often will have people come to us and they'll be like, the very first thing that I want is like the grandiose Mac Daddy perfect brand video that's the first thing someone sees on my homepage and it's an introduction to the whole thing. What I would prefer, and I try to coach clients to do, is let's make a higher quantity of videos at a lower price, get some feelers out there and get that qualitative feedback as to what's resonant in a marketing environment, and then incorporate that into the brand video, the big video that we're trying to produce. Yes, there is a connection there to an overall larger investment, but it's also gonna have a much higher likelihood of success because you actually know the stuff that you're putting in your video is going to be resonant with the people that are buying from you. After that, connecting it back to the people that care about net income, if you can add more video to your sales funnel. We've seen this as a precursor to the first meeting, if it's a 2-call close, as follow-up after the sales meeting, as a part of just the first nurture or inbound leads that you're connecting. It's going to increase close rates. It's going to automate part of the sales process. We saw with the Wealth Advisor client, meetings that were used to be 45 minutes were now 25 minutes because a lot of the context was already set in that video in the most pristine version of what you were trying to explain. And then you can just get into the nitty-gritty, the 202 questions that someone has before they're ready to move forward with you. And it also improves onboarding. We do a new video as soon as someone signs with us, congratulating them, welcoming them into being a client of ours. And as many of you are aware, the window for buyer's remorse is the 48 hours after someone closes, after someone actually signs the contract, signs the sales agreement. When you make that type of personal touch in the form of video, and you genuinely express, I'm fired up to be working with you, I'm fired up to help you with your staffing problem, I'm fired up with whatever problem it is that we're addressing, it's going to improve the onboarding experience, which is going to impact retention. This is just another quote that I've taken to heart. I'm a first-time founder, so hopefully I'm doing this right. But Justin Kan sold Twitch to Amazon for about $1 billion. Says first-time founders stress exclusively about their product. Second-time founders stress about their distribution. It's important to have a great product. I'm sure a lot of us stress about putting the absolute best product together for our buyers. But if you can get that distributed to more people, you know what that's going to do to your bottom line. So that's another part of the content marketing picture that we're always thinking about. I had an economics degree from Pitt. I guess I still do, they didn't take it away. But we're familiar with the old supply and demand graph here. Yeah, getting some nods, beautiful. So I just think about this in the exact same terms when it comes to the other social media, all of the social media platforms out there. But instead of supply and demand, it's how much content and how many viewers are there. So it doesn't matter if the ideal scenario is a platform which is maybe, say, TikTok 3 or 4 years ago, where there was loads of attention. They were spending like $1 billion a year to just get new eyeballs onto the CCP's propaganda machine. And there weren't that many new pieces of content being published. So anyone that published anything was getting crazy organic reach. Now, you ask anyone that's publishing regularly to TikTok today, they're not getting anything close to that because the supply-demand curve has shifted. Everyone's posting content now because that's the big marketing opportunity, but the viewers are flatlining, and who knows, maybe there's going to be an executive order here soon that leads it to absolutely falling off a cliff. So that's a general framework, but that applies to every single social media platform. That's why there are companies that got onto Facebook early in 2011 and absolutely blew up, or Instagram in 2014. This cycle repeats, and we're always on the watch for what that next opportunity is going to be. This is the framework that if your marketing person isn't here, you're training a young marketing person that's breaking into the industry, that they need to internalize. The 4 C's of putting content together. It doesn't have to be video, but this is what we teach our folks. Start with consumption. If you're trying to figure out how to make great LinkedIn content, you have to be there. You can't just snap your fingers and like, I'm gonna be influential on one of these platforms. You have to be spending your time there consuming. Once you're consuming, you then comment and curate. And there are really viable strategies for growth that are just the comment and curation. I'll show you one of those in a second. But basically what that means is you're actually starting to develop taste. You're starting to be able to say, this is good, this is bad, this is crap, this is gold. And then engage with those parties that fit a psychographic or an identity profile like Taylor was talking about in his last talk. And then finally, you're ready for creation. So this is back to that thing of, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, that, not rushing to do the big thing right out the gates. If you're able to do this, you're gonna have a real point of view as to what's gonna be resonant, effective with the audience that you're trying to reach. I'm guessing less than half the room knows what Bama Rush Talk is. Am I right? Yep, we've got a couple, yeah? So this is a phenomenon that took TikTok by storm. I know I've disparaged them for a second, but it's still worth studying these platforms. And this is sororities now across the entire SEC and across the entire country doing dance routines that went just absurdly viral. And all of these young women are going to be like the leaders of marketing departments in Fortune 500 companies in 5 to 10 years. I'm not exaggerating. What they did over the last 2 years was frickin' brilliant. But what I want to actually direct your attention to is not the people in the green suit, but the comments right here. Sonic Drive-In, NFL, Flight House is a TikTok native brand. They're going to be one of those brands that, took advantage of the TikTok moment the way other brands took advantage of the Facebook or the Instagram moment. And they made a point of being the first comment or one of the top comments on these platforms. And they got an enormous amount of engagement. So if you look here, this video got over 600,000, around 600,000 likes. This one comment got 32,000. If that's the likes, you can't even imagine what the views are on something like that. I know that's not necessarily connecting it back down to sales, but it is a viable marketing strategy, and that's what I want to point out from the comment and curate side of the house. TikTok, controversial topic. There's going to be people that love it. There's going to be people that hate it. You're probably still trying to guess exactly how I feel about it. I'm not going to tell you. But this is a couple of the headlines that are super relevant. TikTok says they have 1 billion people use the app each month. That is a lot of people. That is a lot of supply of viewers. That's why it was an amazing marketing opportunity for 3 years, because there was so much attention there. We also know that we don't know, I suspect that there's going to be some form of an either divestiture or ban of the app within the next 6 months. So what do? The people that never went on, the people that, that's stupid, it's just people dancing, they're doing a little dance thinking it's funny. But here's the actual truth. It's not just you that noticed TikTok, it's the other biggest social media companies on the planet. If anyone doesn't know what these 2 logos are, this is Instagram Reels, which is the company that Facebook owns, and this is YouTube Shorts. Their products are also vertically oriented videos in the exact same algorithmic feed style as TikTok, and they're going to be poised to take advantage when one of their biggest competitors gets banned or divested from. So what we need to do is study the format of video that TikTok popularized and use it to our advantage, even if we were skeptical of specifically that platform. And I'm going to explain how to do that and why. So here's the essence of why TikTok was successful. And I'm just parroting stuff that I've learned from like the top tech product guys that I read. It's not my brilliance that's coming out here. So when you look at this format, this is literally from top to bottom, one piece of content. If we compare that to the news feed environment that we were consuming for about 10 years, if you were on social media back in the late 2000s, when your mobile device is on this screen right here, are you looking at the bottom of this image, the text here, or the top of this image? It's actually a really challenging computer science question that there isn't a clear answer to. So these technology companies were struggling to ascertain where your attention was when your screen was right here. Do they have any problem figuring that out when this is what's on the screen? No. It's completely unambiguous. If you stay there, it's because you're watching. If you engage, it's because you were watching. If you like it, if you share it, if you do these things, it's all perfectly tied to one single piece of creative, which gives their algorithm unparalleled capabilities at recommending a piece of content given how someone engages on it and the other psychographic information that they have about you. That's the exact same way that Instagram Reels product works. That's the exact same way that YouTube Shorts works. So this is a trend that is not going anywhere, I promise you. You can see it's almost the exact same format too. So what we do is we create one short form vertical video. That's the terminology. It's not a TikTok, it's not a reel, it's not a short. It's a short form vertical video, less than 60 seconds or so, vertically oriented. We post it to all three and we get distribution on all three of the biggest social media platforms. Save yourself some time, make your dollar go further if you're going to produce a video. This is one of the most interesting things, and this is another one that I guarantee half the room has no idea what this is even reference to. Does anyone know what this is? No? Does anyone know the name Kylie Jenner? One of the Kardashian people? So she made this post. It was really, really interesting because it represented a changing of the guard for what type of creator was going to be effective on these platforms. As I articulated before, there was that gap of what the algorithm was actually ascertaining about your attention when you consumed a piece of media. Meaning that the old algorithms were very, very bad at knowing exactly what type of content that you wanted. It had to guess, it had to kind of take a shortcut. And the shortcut that it took was the follower graph. It was all these parasocial relationships. Why do I know what this dilettante over in LA is like doing with their family and the like dynamics of what's going on there? It's this parasocial relationship made from being a follower of that individual. As soon as it became an interest-based graph, as soon as it could tell this video is aligned with you or it isn't, it severely hurt engagement for the folks that blew up and took advantage of that follower moment. So the Jenners and the Kardashians, I would argue, have peaked and are on the decline because of that challenge to the follower model for content. That's a big statement to some. Here's my demographic profile. This would be the old school follower-based thing. You probably even remember like Facebook started because it was, hey, we're all in the same college, right? Or hey, I can connect with my old high school friends that I haven't seen in 20 years. That's what brought me onto Facebook, right? It was these identities. I went to North Hills High School. I went to the University of Pittsburgh. I run a company called Piper Creative. Those are a lot of my kind of social relationships or where the roots of those are. But here's my interest graphs. I follow the NBA. I like NBA Twitter. I go to YouTube. I watch keynotes and marketing strategy videos and other things about building businesses. When I'm not on TikTok so much anymore, but I'm on Instagram Reels, I'm a new dad. I've got a 1.5-year-old. I'm watching stuff about how to be a better parent, how to, things to expect in your 2-year-old's developmental cycle. These things that are relative to the interest that I have and not so much has anything to do with the fact that I went to North Hills High School. That's the change that we're in the midst of. So here is the macro content strategy that you can deploy. Swipe and deploy this today. You're going to find success with it. Start with the interest graph of the person that is your buyer. You probably have an ICP. You probably have an ability to articulate who it is that's buying from you. What are they interested in? What are they looking to learn, be educated about on an actual topical or interest-based level? Then go study the top creators in the space. See how that connects to the 4 C's, the consume, comment, curate. Follow those top creators. Absorb what's working for them, what their strategies are, what is actually resonating with this group that you're trying to reach. Then make content exclusively to that community and psychographic profile. The whole era of like, this is what I had for lunch and these kind of parasocial based posting, there's still a place for that. It's not going to go away. But it's peaked. It's so much now the opportunity to be making interest-based content, and the optimal format for that is short-form vertical video.
That seems impossible based on that what you just showed previously on the page.
I'm sorry?
It's all over the place. I mean, the next page you go, you're like, hey, your MBA and business marketing and parenting for it. It's like, well, that seems like it's all over the place, right?
It's definitely all over the place.
How is anybody going to pin you down as to like what am I actually building towards? I mean, right?
Right.
But that somebody is trying to capture you, but the next person, well, he's NFL, and then he's got a grown college kid, and then he's on, right?
Right.
You're exactly something almost exactly like you. would have a completely different profile, and then like, well, how am I going to market to?
Exactly. And so the NBA doesn't really, I mean, they're going to do stuff related to business and to parenting, but they just need to make sure that NBA Twitter continues to flourish. Or if you're, say, a basketball trainer or a basketball coach or someone who sells basketball tickets, this is the only place that you need to engage me to have growth in your business. Because that's where when I'm in that zone, that's the content that I'm paying attention to that resonates with that specific identity as I'm there. And then when I'm over here, I'm still gonna watch a basketball highlight. There are basketball highlights in my Instagram feed, but those are the identities that dominate my attention as it pertains to that platform. So what I would be looking for you're renovating an old town, right? There's literally YouTube channels of people doing this. They're like, I just bought this abandoned city. Do you know the one I'm talking about? I'm trying to think of like the name of the channel right now. I'll actually try to find it, and if we can get connected afterwards, I'll send it to you. There's literally a guy who just vlogged a year and a half of him buying the old town. It's like, today we added new doors. Tomorrow we fixed this roof. Hey, here's the location. And literally by the end, people were like, because there's a whole subdomain on YouTube of just do-it-yourself home renovation. Like they like seeing how the different things get put together, very HGTV. That's a psychographic profile that there's already a community there. You don't have to go find and create this out of nothing. There's people that are into the renovation and turnaround of old, small towns. I promise it's there. And if you follow up with me, I'll send you more stuff of people that are in that niche. Good question though, thank you. Formula, short form vertical video. There has to be a great hook. You have 3 seconds to catch someone's attention to understand that this aligns with that interest graph or with that psychographic profile that they're after. So if it's the NBA, you are not going to believe the dunk that just went down. Boom, we're into the action. That's all you have before I've decided that this motion is taking me to the next video. So you have to have a great hook. Then the mistake there is, it can only be 15 seconds. These millennials, these Gen Z, they have no attention span. I watched Game of Thrones, man. Like that was 70 hours of video. Like I've listened to 2.5-hour podcasts before. That's a complete misnomer. If I know that it's for me, if I know that it's relevant, I will stick around. But you have to make that clear from the jump. If I had taken 5 minutes here, I was on 376 today and I had a burrito for lunch. Like no one would be paying attention to me anymore. You would all be on your phones, zoned out, like, God, why did Joel bring this guy here? But I got right to the point. I got right to what we were going to talk about. You knew it was going to be relevant to you from the way that I set up the context. And that's why most of you are continuing to pay attention, right? Call to action at the end. 1 call to action, not 3. This is an interesting trend. Gen Z says TikTok is the new search engine. Basically, in the search bar of TikTok, people were saying, what's the best restaurant in Pittsburgh? Whatever thing that they were looking after. And it had location data. It had really relevant data as to what was in the content. Someone will do like, here's my favorite restaurant in Pittsburgh. It's like, okay, here's a potential response to that question. And this is an interesting trend that everyone should be paying attention to. So once again, I'm not in on TikTok. I don't think that's for me. Does anyone know who Patrick Bet-David is? Give me a hand if you do. No one? That's cool. So he owns a friggin' enormous, I think it's like $100 million, $200 million a year insurance company. He's based in Texas. He has a beautiful house in Miami and creates a ton of YouTube content. And he has a YouTube channel that probably has 1.5 million subscribers right now. But when you search this man's name on sales, it's not listings for sales jobs at his enormous insurance agency. It's not a text-based post. These are all videos. This is his video on the qualities of a great salesperson, the untold truth about your first year in sales. And then a really interesting thing here, this is going to be something I can show more easily in a couple slides, is within the context of the video, what YouTube is doing is transcribing every spoken word of video and using that to better identify what's in that video so that they can make better recommendations as to what you view. But then what creators are also doing is showing you the different kind of chapters of a video, right? Like we're used to scenes in an 1.5 hour long movie. Even these 12-minute videos are going to have chapters that move you from, okay, we went from talking about dogs to talking about cats to talking about fish, and you could get to exactly where you want to get to. And recommendations are actually going to be down to like the middle of this video is probably what you're looking for, because you're looking for discipline as it pertains to sales from Patrick Bet-David. That's the nuance of what these fine-grained searches could be. So I only told Joel about this a minute before I went on. But I Googled Joel. If I was in the market to potentially work at a technology company like OpenArc, I might search for what the company culture is with some tags of Joel and OpenArc, right? And I don't know if I'd necessarily, maybe I'll get that from his LinkedIn profile. I'll read what his executive team kind of summary says. But if I scroll down, this is the third result, and then I had to cut it. So this is the fourth result on the page. And this is a interview that Joel did with some guy named Will, and it's about 48 minutes. I don't know if I necessarily want to watch that whole thing, but when I go to that video, you can see that on these chapter bars at the bottom of the video, there's a specific section that says the office culture at OpenArc. And it's this little section right here where he's actually addressing that question. Or maybe it's this section, close enough, you guys get the point. So I have that fine grain ability to find that out about Joel because he was on one podcast. What if you were intentional about creating 25 videos on all the topics that your potential employees and potential clients were most likely to search about you? Would that be an amazing first impression? Would that get them to exactly where you want them to get to? And maybe also filter out the wrong employees? If your culture is a place where we work hard and we show up on time, what if you said that in the first video, and then the people that are like looking for, to skate by don't even apply? Long captions help on all these. That's also going to just help the SEO of this. They're still transcribing what's being said. This is back to the parenting TikTok. This guy talks about like how to teach your kids to read. And you can just see he just vomits words into the captions, and it's working fantastically well for him. That's 130,000 likes on the video. Not even views. I don't even know what the views are. Boom. So here's another analogy. This should have been in the framework section, but I had to talk about the short form vertical videos first. Short form vertical videos are bullets, not cannonballs. So this is back to that idea of don't make the most important video first. If you can shoot bullets out in the marketplace, way less expensive than shooting a cannonball, and then you can see what actually hits and what just completely misses, then you're actually getting the qualitative data to make the video that's going to be resonant to the audience that you're trying to reach. So as you're trying to figure out how to get started or how to do this more effectively, I'd recommend shooting a lot more bullets before you shoot any cannonballs. Here's an example of a woman that did that fantastically well. She did 105 shorts. They got about 30.4 million views. And then anytime one of her shorts, this is only YouTube, not on TikTok. She also publishes a TikTok, but this is all YouTube data. Every time one of these shorts went particularly viral on YouTube as a short, she then made it into a long form video because she had proven the demand, she had proven the interest, and then when the algorithm said, hey, everyone watched the last thing you made on this topic, they'll probably like this other video you made too. Now you're getting the algorithm working for you. You shouldn't pay for that. That's all organic. And that's what her subscribers did. 290,000. It's even higher now, but it's a couple months old. Is everyone with me? Good? Getting bored? Skeptical? YouTube. YouTube's where the opportunity's at. If there's no other takeaway, I've given you a couple other takeaways. YouTube's where the opportunity's at. I've been talking about videos, and yet I'm going to tell you that the most important thing for YouTube, the video platform, is not a video. It is a static image that represents the video that you made. So if you go right here and open up a YouTube interface, it's going to look something like this. It might be vertical if you're on a mobile device, but you can see that there's 8 videos competing with one another for your attention. You will only click on one, or you'll scroll, or you'll decide to open some other tab. So there's a static image that has to garner your click before your video will even get viewed. Here's another one. This is a free one. If a video production company is telling you they're going to make a video for you, and it's going to be for YouTube, and they don't have a thumbnail strategy, or they don't say that they're delivering a thumbnail with the video, run. They do not know what they're talking about. There are 2 metrics that matter for us in our YouTube performance. There's secondary ones I'll talk about in a second. Click-through rate, the rate at which impressions of the static image of your video are turned into views is your click-through rate. This is back to my 5-year journey of trying to figure this stuff out. I had to scream this at my team for 6 months before it landed. Thumbnails are movie posters. Anyone watch The Fast and the Furious? Back when they had The Rock, remember? Rock, Vin Diesel. I remember going in the movie theater and there's, The Rock, there's Vin Diesel, there's like a car on fire shooting over their head and their bodies are glistening. They put like baby oil all over their arms, right, to try to get your attention. That is not like some screenshot from the middle of the video. There's a whole day where they put everyone together, they got the lighting right. I'm sure he could speak to the actual like lighting that went into the photography of that. But that is the degree of intention that went into a movie poster that wasn't the deciding factor as to whether or not you watched. On YouTube, it is literally the deciding factor. No click, no watch. You have to have a thumbnail strategy. The second most important metric is your average view duration. So if you think, once again, about the algorithm's point of view, it wants to recommend the best videos that it possibly can to people that fit a specific interest graph, and they have all sorts of narrow niches, and if it satisfies this group, they're going to widen the niche a little. Satisfies that group, widen it a little bit more. The indicator they're going to use is your average view duration. And this is not our best, but a relatively standard graph. At the beginning of the video, you have 100% attention. By 30 seconds in, we didn't it says right here, 81% of viewers are still watching around the 30-second mark. We intentionally shot a great, fast-paced, focused intro to the video. I still lost 20% of people. So you have to have a strong intro. You have to be empathetic to the viewer. You can't have the same intro every single time. People are going to get bored. They're going to scroll away. And then, once they're in, they're probably in. They're going to stick around unless you really say something ridiculous. Average view duration. Short form vertical video works the exact same way. This is a TikTok data dashboard. You can see the exact same thing. Starts at 100%, but now we're not getting to 30 seconds. We're getting to like 5 seconds, and I've already lost 50% of my people, right? This is what the algorithm is using to decide whether or not your video is worth showing to more people. The third, 2B metric here is average view per viewer. So as you can imagine, click-through rate and average view duration, this isn't groundbreaking 2023 stuff. This has been understood for a while. People have been optimizing for this for a while. So what was the next point of optimization? Because what I could do, who's heard the term clickbait before? I could throw some clickbait in front of you and get you to click on my thumbnail. And then I could do all sorts of wacky stuff. I could be dancing up here, not necessarily providing you guys value, but if I was doing the worm and just acting like a complete freak, you may watch for a little while, but you're not coming to my next talk, right? Maybe? What average view per viewer counts is what is the rate at which someone that watches one video of yours converts and watches a second video. So this is a proxy for the satisfaction that the viewer had in watching your video, because they're like, that was pretty interesting. Let's see what else he's got or she's got. So average view per viewer is basically that secondary metric that once you get those first two right, then you start to focus on. Here's how you focus on it. Serialized content. Here's step 1 of my process. Here's step 2. Here's step 3. Here's me painting this thing once in green. Here's me painting it in red. Here's me painting it in blue. Not for everyone. Not everyone's going to love it. But for that specific interest graph, for that specific psychographic profile, catnip, give me more. Hannah did a series where she painted a deck of cards. 52 cards, for those of you that, I don't know why you wouldn't know that. But she painted it and she dropped 1 per day. And the average view per viewer of her Instagram videos was insane. You can see the one got 2.3, it's probably even more than that now, but it was 2.3 million views months ago. She sold out a deck of cards. Fine art, this is a strategy. She sold out a deck of finely painted cards using this strategy because people knew it was coming next and their average view duration is going to be strong. They're going to sit through the intro because they know what's coming. You're going to get that average view per viewer up. All right, sales and revenue. It's like, when was he going to get to that? I'm going a little long, I apologize. I'll try to wrap this up quickly. Here's where we like to put videos as a starting point for increasing both retention and close rates. An intro video for every new lead that comes in. Here's who we are, here's what you can expect. Anyone have someone show up to a sales meeting before and just is not prepared at all? Wouldn't it be great if they brought just the 3 or 2 things that would be super relevant and make it so much easier, right? I'm sure the finance guys know, yeah? They're laughing. Yeah? Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. So we should send them an intro video. Just tell them, hey, this is what's up. If you want to have a successful meeting, an efficient meeting, a meeting that gets straight to the point, here's what to bring. After the first call, dump every client testimonial you can on them. A case study is great, but if you have the video of the client being like, these dudes rock. Best interior design I've ever had. Look at how gorgeous my home is. that's going to get people going. Maybe you're already doing that. And then finally, after the onboarding, 48-hour window, buyer's remorse. Nip that in the bud. You made the right call. Trust me. This is going to be great. You're in good hands. I got you. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that just settle the, whew, did he bamboozle me? Did he swindle me? There's still a chance. There's still bad actors out there. But that addition of just a little bit of extra touch, that can be shot in half a day. Gonna make a difference. Video sales letter. Anyone know what this is? No? All right. Video sales letter is like the catnip for digital marketers. Basically, after I get you to my landing page, maybe I drive traffic there to the landing page. I may have a setter, an SDR trying to set you, trying to get you on board in some way, shape, or form. I want to drive them to a video sales letter that is structured like this. We've kind of already know you got the problem. If I'm selling you widgets, you kind of know, like if you're all the way here, like you have some need for widgets, right? If I'm looking for interior design, like you're probably doing some sort of renovation, right? I'm not just tire kicking here. So I don't need to spend a ton of time on the problem. I don't need to really agitate you on, it's like your kitchen's so ugly. Like you don't need to spend a ton of time there. But you do need to go really in depth on presenting the solution. And this not only increases the likelihood of people showing up to booked calls, but also we found shortens them because they have a ton of context on the solution that you provide. And there's ways to track that the video is actually viewed by the person that it was sent to. But if you spend time on presenting the solution with a little call to action of either, hey, make sure you book that call if you haven't already, or hey, just make sure you show up to the call so I can, help you with this, it's gonna have an impact. Ads. Not going to spend a ton of time here because there's like so many permutations of directions that this can go. But basically, your formula for an ad just shifts slightly, right? With the VSL, we already had someone opt in some way, shape, or form. So we can't spend as much time presenting the solution. That's going to hurt our average view duration. So people aren't going to stick with us. But we need to really hook them with a big problem. Your video ads should start with, I'm just going to keep using you because it's an easy example. Do you hate your kitchen? Does your kitchen make you want to rip your eyeballs out? Maybe that's probably too aggressive language than you'd prefer to say. You're probably embarrassed when people come into your kitchen and see that you got whatever on the walls. I can help. I've been interior designing spaces for however long. If you want to have a free consultation with me, this is the call to action. Here's the link to do so. Pretty simple formula. Everyone can do that. If you're thinking about where to spend your advertising dollars on digital, here's some basic frameworks. Facebook is still the best for demographics and interests. That's where we put all the old school data of who we are, what social groups we're in. That has the best clarity there. It's getting more expensive. AT&T has hurt, not AT&T, ATT, which is a app tracking transparency policy that Apple put into place, has hurt the ability of Facebook to track all the way through. So their data is not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still super viable. TikTok, if you still want to jump in before whatever happens, is fantastic at interest-based stuff, really powerful direct-to-consumer sales. And YouTube has the highest average order values because it's the highest intent. If you think about YouTube ads, they're owned by Google. They know if you searched home renovations Pittsburgh or jobs at computer company Pittsburgh, Wexford, right? So it already has that intent data. So it's more expensive, but you know that you're reaching someone on specifically that interest graph that you're trying to reach. I've been doing this for 5 years. Everything that I just kind of barfed at you information-wise is taking a lot of time to assemble. If it feels daunting, if it feels inaccessible, I apologize. That wasn't the aim of what I was trying to do today. But I'm a big believer in compounding. And I know that when we started doing videos 5 years ago, the skill and the fluency and the muscle there compounded and compounded and compounded. And that's why we're getting the results that we're getting now. And so I would just hope that you would consider that whether you're going to make your next video soon or sometime in the future. Thank you.